Hello everybody, it's the Universal Critic. I talk about whatever I want, whenever I want, and today I'm talking about a movie that I've been dying to see for a long time, Cloud Atlas. What's this movie about exactly? Well, isn't that the million-dollar question. See, it's actually 6 completely different but loosely connected stories set across many centuries ranging from the 1850s to the 2300s. And while each story has a completely different plot, setting, cast of characters, and entirely different genre, they all have similar themes, like, basically the theme of the movie is that we're all connected, what we do, our lives aren't our own, we affect those around us, and those around us affect ourselves. Now, was this a very good film? Yes. Is it for everyone? No. Anyone who hasn't read the book, which is a very entertaining read, and I highly recommend, might want to take notes, because I'm not saying it's necessary to read the book to enjoy the movie, and I should know because I saw it with a friend who had not read the book and she enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm just saying this movie has a very complicated narrative structure and you need to be paying attention pretty much throughout the entire movie. It's almost as complicated as like Inception or Pulp Fiction, only probably a little more so. Yeah, I've read the book myself, and let me tell you, this is not an easy book to turn into a film. Which is surprising considering how well the movie follows the book. I'm not saying it's a word-for-word adaptation, that would be almost impossible, but it actually does. They actually do a pretty good job, which I really like the filmmakers. Well, see, this film actually has 3 directors. First is Andy and Lana Wachowski, who you all know from the Matrix trilogy and Speed Racer. Well, I liked and it's also directed by Tom Tykwer, who directed Run Lola Run. Now, I've never seen Run Lola Run, and as for the Wachowskis, well, I like the first Matrix movie, and, well, nobody cares about the sequels. Speed Racer I never saw, but I heard it was pretty bad, and they produced V for Vendetta, which was really good, but they didn't direct it. In fact, Cloud Atlas is the first film they've directed since Speed Racer, and that was 4 years ago. So, anyway, to explain the film a bit more, well, it's actually the one thing that I both really like and kinda a little confused by in this movie is that in each of the 6 different stories, they use the same actors over and over again. The film stars Tom Hanks, Halle Berry, Jim Sturgis, Susan Sarandon, Jim Broadbent, and a whole bunch of other people, all playing at least 6 different roles in the 6 different stories. Some only appear on the screen for a minute or two, and sometimes they're the lead characters. And basically, it's that they play different characters of various races, ages, and genders across the different stories. And which is interesting because at the end of the movie, they had this thing where they showed the actor's name and then showed pictures of all the different characters that they played throughout the film. So stay after the credits for this movie to see that, because there will be so many of those that you missed in the movie, because trust me, I didn't see half of them. So how was the acting in the movie? Really good, actually. I love Tom Hanks, who doesn't, and he does a great job. I wish Susan Sarandon, who was also in the movie, had a bigger part, but she does a good job as always. Jim Broadbent, who you may know as that British guy who always seems to be in everything, but you can never remember his name, is also in this, and he does a good job. Halle Berry, I'm not a huge Halle Berry fan, but I like her. She seems like she's a decent enough actress, and she does a very good job in this movie, considering how much different roles she has to play. You also got Hugo Weaving, who is the villain in just about every single one of these stories. Imagine Hugo Weaving playing a villain. He plays like 6 different bad guys. While Tom Hanks plays Tom Hanks and Hugo Weaving have very interesting, because over the course of the 6 stories, the characters they play, Tom Hanks starts off as like a really bad guy in the first story, but over the course of time, his different characters get less bad until eventually he's the hero. Whereas Hugo Weaving starts off in the first story as like a mild jerk, but at the very end, he's the devil. Don't ask, just see the movie, it'll make more sense. I don't have time to explain all this stuff. So, was the movie confusing? Yes, but not in the bad way. See, the film, they follow the book well, but they changed the formatting of the book. See, with the book, it tells the first half of each story, then jumps to the next one until it gets to part 6, which tells the whole story, and then the second half of the book is the second half of each story in descending order. Whereas the movie, they kind of jump around a lot. Like, they show a couple minutes of one story, then jump to another, then another, then another, then another. It's more like I think the author of the book, David Mitchell, described it as like a mosaic format. And I both really like that and kind of don't like it. See, they try to like juxtapose stories that like have like consistent tones, like someone's running away from something in one story, they put that against another story where someone else is doing the same thing, or like something bad's happening in this, something bad's happening in another, etc. But there are times when this gets a little problematic. Where exactly do I mean? I mean in the opening scene, like the first like 3 minutes of the movie. Yeah, they show like a section of each story, but like it's the beginning of two of the stories, the ending of another story, and the middle parts of the other stories. Confused yet? Yeah, well, be prepared, because that's all in the first 3 minutes of the movie. Not saying it's a bad idea to get the audience immersed, but it's a little much to throw at your audience in the first couple minutes. But like I said earlier, reading the book could be helpful, but it's not required. But still, I can see why this movie will be polarizing, because it's a lot to swallow. Basically, I think it was Richard Roper who said, some will call Cloud Atlas the best movie of the year, while others will claim it's the worst thing they've ever seen, and I can see why. But how did I feel about it personally? I loved it. I think it's one of the best movies of the year, if not the best. We still have 2 more months for it. We'll have to wait until January 1st for me to make a definite decision about that. But overall, I don't think this movie's I recommend you see this movie in the theaters, which I recommend you do soon, because I don't think it's going to be in the theater for much longer, because there were only a couple people in the theater I was at, and the movie is only made like look, just see it in the theater, because I don't think it'll be there for much longer. So overall, Cloud Atlas is polarizing, but very enjoyable for my taste. If you want to, but again, like I said, this thing is very polarizing, so if you want it, so you'll have to see it for yourself to decide, because you'll either love it or you'll hate it. There's no middle ground on this. But overall, I recommend you see it, if only to experience it for yourself. I'm the Universal Critic. I talk about whatever I want, whenever I want. Goodbye.